In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys probably the best esports cafe in Tokyo, and considering that internet cafes in Japan are usually quite different than the internet cafes that you'll typically find in South Korea, for example, it was a shock to see that after failing to find what I thought would be a gamer's paradise in Tokyo, we're actually not the only options you have if you go to a different neighborhood and want to play on a high-spec PC for not really much at all in Shin-Okubo, Tokyo. It's worth noting that this is what's known as Tokyo's Koreatown, and even though I haven't shown too much of the neighborhood in this video, I would love to do a separate video sometime comparing a lot of the food that you can get here with the food that you'll find in South Korea, and maybe even compare it to other Koreatowns such as the ones in New York City and Los Angeles as well. Now, it may not be the most impressive looking PC방 if you've ever been to any in South Korea, and there may not be a kitchen for you to order cooked meals, but I promise you, even though I've been to many PCbangs in Seoul, this place will still blow your mind, especially if you haven't gotten to experience PC cafes anywhere else. It should also be noted that most of the people that come here I've noticed were either tourists from Korea or China, and considering that the owner is Hapu, it was really cool to know that I had the opportunity to practice my Korean and Japanese, since these are my current target languages as a polyglot. Although you shouldn't have any problem speaking English as well. But let's see how much it costs to get started. So we're at Wow PC방. It's a nice store. Much like PC cafes in Korea, there's both a member and non-member fee. As a non-member, it's only $6.45 for 2 hours, and for only $7.09 you could actually chill and do work here for 4 hours. The only issue is, you can't save your time like you can as a member for a later time. So once you decide to leave or the timer goes off, that's it.
I'm going to have to be as quiet as possible, but it's very interesting that it seems to be connected to a Korean server. It's actually a lot more quiet in here than a lot of the PC bunks that I've been to in Seoul or Busan, for that matter.
Although if I'm being honest, this isn't just the PC bangs or internet cafes. A big culture shock for me is just how a lot of spaces are quiet in Japan compared to other countries that I've been to. And it honestly shocked me because places like this are generally full of screaming and excitement, especially if people are coming in groups. It looks like we have the same Korean interface on the top right, as well as the most popular games already preloaded.
Before we begin, we're going to take a look at some of the specs.
We have a NVIDIA RTX 4070 Ti graphics card, an Intel 12th Gen i5, and 16 gigabytes of RAM.
But the 12th Gen Intel i5 as well as the 4070 Ti and 16 gigs of RAM is generally going to be enough to definitely put a lot of time into some pretty graphic intensive games here. One thing I find interesting, at least in Japan, it seems that Yahoo seems to be like the #1 place people go on like as a search engine. In the US, at least not since the early 2000s, Yahoo hasn't necessarily been people's #1 search engine. So it's kind of interesting to see it still be used in other countries.
And I would be foolish not to take this time to check the internet speeds.
Oh my goodness, that is beautiful. Oh my god. The upload speed's over 500. Now, I'm sure you guys know how much I love Korea and Seoul, but I have to do another test when I go there after this. But as far as I remember, the speeds were not this high. Now, of course, this is kind of like unnecessarily high. There's not too many things that you're going to be playing that needs over 800 down and over 750 up unless you're streaming. Considering this isn't necessarily the place for that, it's rather interesting.
Now, I was shocked to find out the system that they use is the same one that you'll see in Korean PCbangs, excluding the option to order food. You can still purchase ramen and other snacks or bevs from the desk, but I already had plans to eat some stingray and octopus sashimi right after this, so I didn't want to ruin my appetite. Aside from vending machines and a nice area for you to prepare your food, you have your typical smoking rooms, a bathroom where you can let go of all the bulldog ramen you ate, but I was a little bit disappointed to see that there weren't any private rooms that you could take a nap or let go of any frustrations from losing in League like you would find at typical Japanese internet cafes. Regardless, the experience was a 9.5 out of 10. Literally, this is everything you need if you're trying to find a solid gaming cafe like the others you find in South Korea. Although it definitely would have gotten the extra 0.5 if there were more food options, but it's understandable why there weren't many when compared to other places that I've been to. For those that may care, I didn't disappear or anything. The past week I've been super locked in on preparing for language videos coming soon, and I just needed a little extra time to get my routine and resources together.